Hey, before we get into this episode of The Space Between Your Ears, just want to talk about my friends over at Mohawk Honda, Freeman's Bridge Road in Scotia, Glenville, here in the Capital District of upstate New York, where they go out of their way to please you. And it's a big time for trade-ins right now throughout the course of this summer. And yeah, you can go to like a random Joe Schmo dealer at the corner, near your house, and great, you can trade it in. But odds are 90% of the time, they're not really going to have anything for you to turn around and buy once you trade in your vehicle. So now you're stuck in a rut with no vehicle. What you going to do? Well, you got to go to Mohawk Honda. That's what you got to do. All right. At Mohawk Honda, not only will they give you top dollar for your trade in, they got acres and acres of inventory for you to choose from. So you're not left out in the cold once you sell off that vehicle you want to trade in. They have the largest inventory of vehicles in the capital region here in upstate New York, and that means you can choose the one that is right for you. Yeah, some other dealers, they'll talk about their values and what they want to accomplish, but Mohawk Honda, they rather focus on your values, value in selection, and value in how you're treated as a customer. So don't feel pressure into buying something from another dealer because that's the best they can do. Go to a dealer that's going to want to get the best for what you deserve and what you need to have done. So go to Mohawk Honda, where their vast selection of certified pre-owned vehicles is guaranteed to fit your needs and your lifestyle. This summer, selection is king, and no one has more to choose from than Mohawk Honda, Freeman's Bridge Road in Scotia, Glenville, where they'll always go out of their way to please you. And here I am, my little butterflies, episode 9 of The Space Between Your Ears, presented by Gazilla Media and sponsored by Mohawk Honda. And this is a very special episode for me personally. I even broke out the all green polo shirt today. All right, and then we're gonna get into why in a second here. Um, so I've talked a little bit on this program about my radio career and doing PA announcing, and looking back over my career that I've spent doing PA announcing, which has been about 8 years now. There's certain people that stand out, that I've formed some good personal connections with, beyond just, the basketball court or the football field, wherever it may be. And this is one of those young men. He has actually gone on through Sage College, graduated from there in 2017, and now has moved on. He's played professional ball over in Europe, has gone through his fair share of trials and tribulations, and he's here to talk about all of that and everything in between. But I want to give him the proper introduction. So, pardon me, I got the old Gatorade. Hang on. I believe the introduction would go something a little bit like this. At guard, a 6'4" senior from the Bronx, number 4, Marcus Patterson. Did I get that right? Was that pretty close?
Wonderful, wonderful. You never get that wrong.
Yeah. Well, duh. I mean, come on. It's me. It's me.
Yeah.
My man, what's going on? It's been a long time.
And I'm good. I'm blessed. Happy to be here. Just doing what I got to do. Staying focused. Staying ahead of the curve.
Now, technically, the Bronx was what I would have to say during your playing days at Sage, but technically, the Bronx is no more, right? You moved to Jersey since then?
Yes. I'm living in Piscataway, New Jersey now, right by Rutgers. So nice, calm area. This is great, man. It's great.
Awesome. Well, let's just go back. Let's just go back in the time machine. So for you, that'd be 20 years, we'll say. Let's go back to like 4, 5, 6-year-old Marcus. How quick did the basketball bug bite you? And what was it like growing up in the Bronx for you as a young kid, trying to, figure out what you were gonna do, as far as going through high school and college, and B, as an athlete, how'd that work out for you?
So when I was really young, playing in middle school and up, that's when I actually started playing like official basketball, middle school, high school, and I honestly thought I was going to the NBA. That was like the number one thing that I saw. I seen nothing else for me for my life except the NBA. I literally used to practice interviews and game shots in my house, in the mirror, or just even in classroom, just pretending I'm shooting and I'm making specific shots in the NBA. But I got to high school. I got an opportunity to go to one of the most prestigious schools in the Bronx, Mount St. Michael, and I was very blessed to be able to get on the varsity team as a sophomore. And things kind of quickly changed and turned for me. I thought I would play more, and I had a lot of expectations about myself that I thought that I should have been given. So I played on the team, varsity team. Didn't play that much my junior year. Played a little bit, was on and off, and then I had a pretty a-okay senior year. But yeah, just things just kind of changed in high school. My high school career didn't go as I thought it would. And coming out of high school, I didn't have that many college offers.
Mhm.
Honestly, I didn't have any options. I actually wasn't going to go to college at all. And until I did like a showcase, and Sage was the only team interested. So what had happened was, and how I even got to Sage, I actually got blessed to go through the HOP program, Higher Education Opportunity Program, and Coach Barnes kind of helped out with that. And Jay, I was the last person to get interviewed. I wasn't supposed to even get interviewed, or let alone even be in the program. And my interview went really well, and that's kind of like history. Yeah,
Coach Barnes has a way of making things happen, man.
yeah. No,
It's,
he made that happen. He made that happen. And literally, if that didn't happen, I would have never gone to college.
and that
Like,
would have been a damn shame. Damn
yeah,
shame.
like, and you have to understand too. Like, I'm at this time, like, I'm from the Bronx. Honestly, I haven't really been outside of the Bronx, so I didn't really care about college. I didn't care about like interacting with people. Like, I was just always to myself, just kind of like, very protective of like, just talking to people, or just aware. I wasn't really used to that. So I had no intentions at all to go to college. I was literally just gonna go. I don't know what I was gonna do. Honestly, I can't even tell you. So shout out to Coach Barnes and
Now,
HOP.
you mentioned going through, come through the Bronx, and not even being sure if college was really going to be an option for you until the opportunity with Sage came around. Was that just like a personal choice? Is that just was it part of the upbringing in the Bronx where where I don't know where kids just had a all or nothing kind of mentality, was it just something personal?
Honestly, it was a little bit of everything because, like I said, going into high school, I really thought that for me it was going to the NBA or nothing.
Right.
And when it came back down to it, I didn't have any offers. That kind of just put me down. I honestly stopped caring about basketball. I stopped caring about like how others viewed me in terms of if I was good or not. Like, I just really didn't care. The only thing I cared about was basketball. When I knew I didn't have the opportunity to go play at the college level, at
Mhm.
that point I was just like over it.
Do you feel like that struggle you were going through towards the end of your high school career, do you feel like that contributed in any way to, was that like the start of everything involving your mental health, or was this something that was just a regular part of life that you were just fighting through to get to the next step?
Nah, man, I hated like my high school years. Like, like I had the best time there, especially with like all the guys and going to an all boys school. It was like really like those connections and bonds that I carried over, and it was great. But in terms of basketball, I hated basketball. I hated playing. I hated
Mhm.
everything about the sport. Like, I didn't care for the world. When I used to play games, I didn't even try to compete. So what happened was, by the time I got to Sage, I was just trying to find a way to love the sport again. And I was in this constant battle of just trying to learn to love it and it was difficult. I didn't work hard. I didn't work on my game. I didn't do
Mm,
anything. Like when you love the game, especially when you truly love the game of basketball, you're willing to do anything. You're gonna get up in the gym.
yeah.
You're gonna do everything you can to succeed at the at that playing level. But I didn't. I wasn't doing anything. So it was a constant struggle for me, and I was just trying every year, every summer, off season. I would tell myself, "Look, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna do this, this." I never did it. So
And that's gonna lead me to a question personally for a second, but it's interesting you mentioned the passion and putting in the work and all that because um, you know, Milwaukee Bucks just won the NBA title. And the thing that just popped into my mind as you were saying all that is how there was like a side by side picture. I think it was shown during one of the finals games, and basically showed Giannis what he looked like when he first came in the league. He was basically still a stick figure, like 180 pounds. And then
right,
they showed present day where he's had like 60 to 65 pounds of essentially pure muscle added on. And that's
right,
what's led to really being a big part of his game. So, you know, just looking at that, that obviously shows, you put in the work, you reap the rewards
right,
eventually.
right.
And
No, yeah, yeah,
the second thing is you were talking just now, is that now that I look back, because as a freshman at Sage, um, from what I recall, you didn't get a ton of playing time off the bench, but it was also a roster that, had, its fair share of talent already established on the squad. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I mean, you played in a lot of games, but you were mostly a guy that was looked at just off the bench during that
right,
freshman campaign. And again, looking back, hindsight being 2020, like when I envision the way you were your freshman year, I'm kind of like, damn, like that makes a whole lot of sense now that you say that about trying to find that passion again, because
yeah,
I could just see the look on your face during some of your games as a freshman. You just look pissed off at the world essentially.
yeah. I
Um,
was, yeah, I was so mad. Honestly, I have no idea. Like, even Coach Barnes and I, like, we got into like a few, like, we crashed heads a lot. A lot of people don't know that, but it was, he was trying to push me, and not only that, like I said, I was also in the process of just like loving the sport again.
mm,
So it was like a hate and love kind of relationship during those times. Like some moments during the games, you could see like I was there, and then other times I'm not there at all.
mhm.
So, and like even up to my senior year, like a lot of guys used to look at me and they thought like I had everything. Everything was just like handed to me. But I
Yeah.
really try to tell these guys like, man, you don't know the half of it coming in from a freshman, barely playing. And when I was playing games, but like in spurts and stuff like that. And
Yeah, it wasn't like you were
so
coming in as sixth man. You were coming in more as like a end of the rotation
right,
guy, really.
right, right. So like a lot of guys they don't understand like the process of everything. And even me, it took a lot out of me to just learn and accept my role. And at a point, I think by the time I got to my sophomore year when we won the championship, it
Hmm.
clicked to me like, all right, you know what? This is my role. This is what I have to do. I'm gonna accept it and I'm gonna enjoy it. And my sophomore year was like, I enjoyed it. I came off the bench, was like seventh man, but
Hmm.
I knew I was coming off the bench. I'm coming in. I'm giving energy. I'm just gonna have fun and just gonna play loose. And I had a decent sophomore year. Come with that squad that we had. We had a bomb
Right.
squad. Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that squad in this in a few
Yeah.
minutes. Don't you worry. Before I get to that, though, I sent you a text last night before, um, after we figured out when we were going to record this, and you probably thought it was the most random text, but I had to
Yeah.
ask it because I like I was trying to work my brain around. I'm like who is this dude's best friend when he was I couldn't really put one because you were the kind of guy that you know even despite your struggles as a freshman when you were playing at Sage, you you typically always had a smile on your face,
Yeah,
got along with everyone, it seemed like. I
yeah.
mean, everybody has a frustrating game here and there and frustrating moments with teammates, but overall, you were always viewed as like this bubbly, happy personality that just got along with everyone. But you mentioned one specific teammate, Alex Lilac, who was co-captain with you your senior year. How much did your friendship with Alex mean to you during your time at Sage, and how much was he able to, I guess, keep keep your head on your shoulders more or less?
Well, I gotta say that was a very difficult question because
Okay.
because I feel like I played in like two eras, kind of say during like the Sage
Well, yeah,
eras.
because your first 2 years, it's well, really 3 years. Well, actually, I'd say it's even 3 eras. Really, there's the first. Actually,
I
really, all
played
four
with
years. All 4 years are really different now that I think about it. Because
yeah,
year one is still Stapera and
yeah,
Kaidine's. It's the Stapera and Kaidine show. Your
yeah,
sophomore year, Andre Robinson, Travis Gill, Jordan Devon, not Jordan Devon,
uh,
Jordan McCray, they all
yeah,
come in.
yeah,
Your junior year, Kai is gone,
yeah.
but you still have McCray and Gill
McCray,
and
yeah, yeah.
Andre, and now you've worked your way into the starting rotation consistently,
And
basically at
then it
that
was
point.
literally it was just me.
Yeah, and then senior year, it's basically you and the Patterson. That's like I don't,
Yeah, like,
it
but
was a
that's
weird
why it was
transition.
great that I had Alex
Hmm.
because like a lot Alex did like so much like you know in the back kind of
Right.
work behind the curtains, talking to guys. He actually like gave me a lot of confidence. He like believed in me since day one. He literally like told me like, look, we're gonna follow your lead. We're gonna go through you, and that's the kind of confidence he gave me. Not only that, like his family, just everyone like the Lilacs in general, like took
He's a
me.
coach's son, and now
Yeah,
he's a coach himself. So
like
obviously he's gonna have a way with words to get
yeah,
you pumped up.
yeah, like he just always knew like what to say like at the right time. And like not only did we have like that type of relationship, we also had like a big little brother kind of
Hmm.
relationship off the court as
Literally
well.
big and little.
Right. Like so like it was man, like it's just one of those type of relationships. But it's a difficult question too because, like Jordan McCray, Andre Robinson, Travis Gill, like and Alex, they were all my roommates. So like even still to this day we have our like our room college group chat and we speak
Yeah.
every day. We speak very often. I still see McCray. I'm actually gonna be with McCray, Jordan McCray like this weekend. And I see Travis all the time. He's not too far from me. And we like it's like they're all like my best friends, but like Alex, like he was just there for me when I was, when I was down and he was there for me when I was up. So like I appreciate that a lot.
And it's really interesting to see the paths y'all have going on. Like Andre's doing his thing in the military with
Right.
his woman, and Jordan, he's gotten into like photography and videography. Like
And he is
he's
nice.
doing great stuff.
He's always been great at that too.
And he's staying
Like
around the game too while he's doing it,
right,
which is pretty cool. And then Alex, coaching and
right. We knew that from jump.
doing his thing, just basically just following his father's footsteps. No big deal, no pressure at all. And of course, you're doing your thing, still playing ball.
Yeah, no, like man, it was great. Like all those guys are a part of my journey. They really helped me mold me into the player that I am today. And they actually gave me the confidence to go out there and do what I do now. And that turning point when all those guys came in and transferred from Sage after we won the championship, uh, my game improved a lot. Just by playing and battling with them every day, going at Travis every day.
Hmm.
A lot of people don't understand. Travis was coming from a Division II school, very
Yep.
athletic. Uh, Travis was a great player in terms of all around and what he could do. And just battling him every day, going at it with him was something that I needed personally. So like just everything, like just all those guys, man, I owe them all the credit.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean. it's amazing what you can get when you're facing a world class D2 defender now playing D3 and practice with you every day of the week.
Man, it was tough. It was tough. It was crazy too because I was actually gonna quit the team my junior year, and I was gonna quit. I was thinking about quitting and just transferring. I was gonna go to St. John's,
I would have
but
smacked you upside the head if you did
yeah,
that.
it's crazy. I'm on my way. I'm walking towards the office. I'm in the locker room at this time, and it's me and Jordan McRae in there, and I'm telling McRae like, you know what, man, I can't do this anymore. I'm about to just quit and just get out of here. So I'm walking towards the coach's office, and McCrae's like following back right behind me. And I'm walking to the office, and I got my head high. I'm getting ready to go, and then coach opens the door. I think right. He
Hmm.
opens it, and I just turn around quick. And then me and McCrae, by the time I turned around and looked, I see Jordan McCrae behind me. Me and him just started laughing because Jordan said, "Man, you're not gonna quit. I know you're not gonna quit. I know you're not gonna quit." And I'm like, "All right, I am. I am." I'm walking. I turned back so fast when I seen that door open. I said, "Oh, nah, I'm not gonna quit." But no, man, those guys made my time there like great because as much as I was going around smiling and
Hmm.
showing how happy I was, and I was happy because Sage really changed my life. Like I was still going through like mental health stuff as well. I was still going through depression and still trying to figure out whether or not I loved the game or not. So that
Hmm.
was like always a big thing for me. So I appreciate those times a lot and those guys.
Now we'll dig more into the mental health aspect in a second, but I have to share this. I have to. So, like I mentioned, I've been doing PA announcing for almost a decade now, and I have to say, I'm about to show one of my all-time favorite pictures in life. All right.
Okay, we got to see this.
So you mentioned sophomore year. I pulled this off my Facebook today.
Oh, that's the squad right there.
That was after the championship game at home, and yeah. So obviously, we see you back there, Kai being Kai, essentially in the back there with you.
I see.
And there's
Um,
me, Nick, between your boy Alex and Coach
yeah,
Barnes.
yeah.
I mean, that's the squad right there.
That's a that's a
That was
legendary squad. We talk about this squad all the time. I'm not sure what other team is beating this squad.
and what's funny is, as I'm looking at this team, man. I mean, you had I'll bring it back because I'm going to go from memory on this one. So obviously you had Kai down low.
Right.
You had um
Melvin.
you had Andre running the show
Right.
essentially with
Right.
Jordan and his athleticism. You had Travis, who was a real all-round player, but more so known for his defense, and his
Defense.
offense could pop off any game it wanted.
Right.
You
Right.
had Melvin playing the four with Kai.
Right.
Then you had the shot blocker and Sopchak coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was you, um, Troy Nawana.
Yeah.
I mean, it was you had Brett Ullman who could come in and shoot
Brett.
lights
Oh
out.
my goodness.
I
Oh
mean,
man.
that was a squad that was extremely well constructed.
Yes. So well rounded, and it fit perfectly. Like I think everyone pretty much almost got along.
And the thing was, even if you were a specialist, like Alex at that time, he was still mostly just known as that gritty bulldog point guard who could hold on to the basketball really well. He wasn't so much known for the rest of his offensive repertoire till his later career. But even him, like, or Matt LeClaire, like, everybody, if they had a role, they knew it, they understood it, and they
Right.
embraced it and
Right.
executed every time.
Right. Right. And I even Alex, like he did so much off, like on the bench, talking to God. Like he did.
Oh, he was the cheerleader, the
Yeah,
team
like
cheerleader, without a
it.
doubt.
It goes such a long way. Like you always need someone like that. You need that on court or on the bench coach. You always need that on your team, especially when you're winning and you're going for a championship. It just goes well for guys' confidence and stuff like that. So Alex was huge. He was huge.
Now, you mentioned the different eras, and this kind of works towards focusing on the mental health. Um, so Kai is going at this point, and now we turn to your junior and senior years, and with in sports, success can um success creates a lot of happiness, and sometimes that happiness is helping bury certain things that might be going on in the background.
Right.
Do you feel like, because you mentioned two different eras, your freshman sophomore years, and really your junior and senior year would be that second era in a way. Do you feel like that junior and senior year were drastically different for you, not just from a physical on court perspective, but also from a mental perspective, as far as the way the team was carrying themselves, and even you and even some of your teammates might have been carrying themselves?
Yeah, junior year was kind of rough because after we won the championship, obviously we had new recruits come in, and at this point during that time, like my sophomore season, everyone kind of already established, our roles, how we want to play, how we want to move the ball, how we want to press guys.
Hmm.
Just we just knew what we needed to do,
Right.
and so by the time like the recruits came in, they didn't really understand the culture of Sage basketball at that time, and it was kind of hard to get guys on board with that.
Right.
So we really struggled with that during that season, which led us to getting knocked out. I don't know. We got knocked out, I think, in the second round.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were good enough to win again. We chemistry wise, we weren't all on the same page, and that that killed us. So that was really it, that transition. And so when that did happen, and also, to be honest, we didn't have any leaders
Hmm.
that junior year. Like everyone was a leader in like collectively, but not that one specific guy that everyone looks at. Like our championship, we looked at Kai. We had Andre running it, but we also we looked into Kai to
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
take us home in certain situations. But our junior year, we didn't really have that. We wanted Melvin to be that guy, but like it's just that when you had Melvin, you had Jordan, you had Travis, and you still had Andre. It's like you got these four returning players that just came back. It was kind of like you mix it all in, and and I don't know, it didn't work. It didn't work. We didn't have enough time to really like work on it, I guess. So it led to some. It was me, and then we had Rob come in. Rob's first year. Rob was like a scorer.
Yep.
He had that edge, and we didn't need Rob to be that guy. Like, yes, we did need you to be that guy, but we also need you to tap into the team, to everyone. And at that time, Rob didn't fully commit to that yet. So it was hard. It was hard. Most guys didn't like that. They got rubbed the wrong way, and you know, that's what happened to our season. So for me now, what I did was, I made a vow to myself that, all right, that same off season, I actually told Coach Barnes, I think that, I wanted to play pro. And I don't know if he'll tell you this, but or maybe it might have been the end of my sophomore year. It was the end of my sophomore year. I went to
Hmm.
Coach Barnes' office and I told him that I wanted to go play pro. And he looked at me and he said, I don't think you're good enough. And he's like, yeah, I don't think you're good enough. So when he told me that, like, everything changed for me. I don't even know if he remembers that, but that kind of changed. So like they're going into my junior year, like I had a decent season, but I was very inconsistent as well.
Hmm.
was getting fouled out a lot of technical fouls, just doing bonehead stuff. And and I was also playing the four, so like playing like fours, battling down there in the post. Just it was like I was fouling a lot. I
Right.
wasn't playing defense, and then yeah, so like going into that senior year, I kind of really I told myself like, all right, you know what, I'm gonna lead this team. I know what it takes, and I wasn't having like any bullshit just on the team. So from the time all those new guys came in, I kind of asserted my dominance. I got in guys' face. I held everyone accountable from the coaching staff to the players. Any guy that on the team that wasn't playing for us, I cut that real quick. I had
Mm.
to tell guys. It got real ugly in the locker room a few times, and guys would tell you I've gotten guys' face. And honestly, I was even willing to punch a few guys in the face for the team's success. Like I was my last year, I was not having it, and luckily we had a good. It was a weird season, but it was a good season because we started off really slow,
Hmm.
and we got better as the course of the season went on. And but yeah, like I was willing to risk it all my senior year. I wasn't having any of that.
I think calling your senior year a weird season is a slight understatement.
No,
Um,
and that's the thing. Like outside looking in, you look at it like, wow, like it was a good season. But if you were in that locker room,
mhm.
you knew what happened. And a few guys I was very close, like John Johnson. Like they were there during those times, like the ugly side of everything, and they seen that ugly side. But we needed it. We needed that leader. And sometimes I had to do things that guys didn't necessarily agree with, but I had to do it, and I knew that. So I really took that leadership role, and I accepted it. And I'm actually glad I did that. It helped me as a player on and off the court.
So, particular to your mental health, where does this story really kick into high gear for you? Like, is this during your time at Sage? Is this because you also had a partially torn ACL, um,
Right after that
right?
season,
Yeah, right after
senior
that
year.
season. Was that really like the main? Was that like the thing that really accelerated mental health issues for you?
Yeah,
Was this something
yeah.
that was brooding for a while?
So, like I said, like I was already battling whether or not I loved the game. So
Yeah.
during that senior year, it's like, all right, I had a good season. I started to gain my confidence. Now, after the season ends, we lose in the championship game. 2 weeks later, we go play pickup, and I get my ACL gets messed up. And I've already know at this time, like, all right, I'm heading to London to go play and get my master's.
Yeah.
And luckily, it was a partial tear, but I knew heading into London that I was not healthy
Hmm.
at all. Like I already knew. They even told me, like, look, if you don't play with the brace, you're gonna get hurt again. So me, I went over there. I said, you know what, I'll be fine. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna do it. This is an opportunity. I'm not gonna sit down. And so I go over there and I played. I'm telling you, I'm playing like I'm 60% in London, but I'm still playing decent. I'm playing decent off the strength of the confidence of what I had the last season. So this is what made me realize, like, I can actually play pro. Like, I can play professional. But I'm playing with guys that are on the national England team. I'm playing against guys on the national England team. I'm playing against guys that are in the top league of the BBL in London and England. And, I'm playing against good competition. Not only that, I'm working on my game. It's just that I couldn't stay healthy. So that required me to leave early and go back home. And that's when I realized, like, all right, if I'm really going to do this, I legit have to really work on myself, work on my diet, work on my body. So just that entire year and a half, taking that off and
Mm.
going through that. And you have to understand, like I said, I've never really worked on my game until this point.
Right.
So after London, I actually moved to Orlando because my brother, he was a professional athlete and halftime trainer at the time. So I literally have $22 in my bank account. I started selling shoes, and I'm selling shoes while I'm in Orlando, but I'm also training, learning how to be a professional athlete just on a day to day basis. Just going through the motions, working out 5 a.m.,
Mm.
going back, sleep, just the routine, just getting into that routine. So just taking that year off, man, it was a lot because, like I'm watching, I'm on social media at the time. I also don't feel like I'm good enough. Sorry for the noise.
You good?
Let me move my location because they're renovating in the house. So, so yeah, like during that time when I was hurt, and during that time I was hurt, it took a lot. It took a lot on my mental health. Just staying home over a year,
Yeah.
not really, socializing with any friends. I didn't talk to anybody. I completely went ghost. Like I really had to just focus on myself, and it was a hard thing to do because I've never done it before. I was hurt. I, my confidence was low. I didn't feel like I was good enough, and and like I said, like just going through everything that I went through in high school as it is, I already I was already unsure of the sport in itself already. So it was just more self doubt, and it was more so, you know, like that mental aspect of the game. Like, all right, do I really love this? Do I really want to do this? How much am I willing to work? And that was what I really battled. Just coming off injuries, sitting out on Instagram during this time. Instagram is like a big thing. You're watching everybody doing what they love. You're consistently scrolling, and I'm in the house not doing anything. So it was tough. It was tough. I was even like self conscious of like I didn't want to work out with people in the gym. I didn't want people to see how I played basketball. I didn't want to play certain like it really messed me up. So that's when like it really like transpired with the mental health stuff.
So what's interesting is that when you were over in London, you mentioned working on your master's, and you got your master's in applied science, which I find interesting considering the you know the issues you're discovering. Did like in a weird way, did getting that degree help open your eyes a little more to what you were struggling with, and for lack of a better phrase, how to diagnose what was going on with you?
Yeah, because actually I did do a lot of research with athletes and mental health stuff, and like athletes we're trained and we're wired to just work, don't
Hmm.
worry about the pain, get through it. We're trained like that. So during that time, now I can see why, like even when I was young, I can see why now I'm throwing away all my other emotions, and I'm just throwing it under the rug. So until I realized like I was actually self harming myself, like I actually tried to, you know, do more talking and more speaking up and having those like conversations that hey, it's okay, like we can talk and stuff like that. So
Mm.
that's when I realized like all right, these are some of the things I need to do to heal, and even being open and seeing like therapists and stuff like that. Like I thought all that stuff was weird. I was not a fan of that at all, and yeah, that was so like that London was good, but the course, I'm sorry, was terrible. I'm sorry, I gotta say that. All right,
But at least it opened your mind to do put the
right,
research in and put the hours in to look stuff up.
right. It's the experience that counts.
Exactly. Now, and it's so weird because you go from coming out of Sage, you get this opportunity in London, despite the partially torn ACL, you do your thing, you do what you could do, you get your master's, and then you go through this period of rediscovering your drive and your self esteem and your confidence. And everything seems to be going all right because then you go off to Portugal and then COVID-19.
Yeah,
Like like you want to talk about like going through the roller coaster of emotions where you're down, you're up, you're down, you're up, and now you've been playing your butt off in Portugal. You're helping your team to make the playoffs, and then all of a sudden you have a global pandemic. The World Health Organization comes down on everything and just stops everything in
Yeah.
its place. You know, when how did I guess the first thing is how did you get word about the pandemic and what the steps were from that point on as far as were you going to stay in Portugal, did you have to be sent home, like talk us through that process when you were going through all that last year.
That process, it was a scary thing because everyone was just panicking. I'm sure in the United States people were panicking as well, but like in Europe it's just like different.
Mm.
Obviously I'm not from the country. I don't know anyone. I didn't prepare for any mask. Like I didn't even think that I would be able to get back home. So like that was like the crazy thing. But the process with that, it went really smooth because the team actually allowed me to like leave. Most
Mhm.
case scenarios, once you sign a contract, you can't leave until the team says so. Like, hey, this is what
Mm.
we're gonna do. I literally just told the team like, look, I'm heading out. I don't think this is gonna work out. I don't think it's gonna get better. I'm gonna, safety first for me, basically. So I told my agent. The agent told the team to mitigate like the damages, and I bought my ticket and I left, and they were cool with it, and the organization was fine. Like I had a really good season. I built great bonds, and they were just so great. So they really helped me out a lot. Honestly, it
And it
just
had to
sucks
be
that.
super quick. It had to be super quick because like once things escalated at the rate they were going, this was eventually leading to like travel restrictions and closing borders and everything. So like this, it had to be quick, or you were essentially going to be stuck out there with nowhere to go.
Yes, I actually had to fly into the UK. So I flew into the UK from the UK to the States because they weren't allowing
Oh, they
like
weren't on
EU.
direct flights from Portugal to the U.S.
Yeah, yeah, or something
Wow.
happened. So I had to like fly into somewhere else, and a lot of people ended up getting stuck.
Mm.
I had a few friends who got stuck, and it's crazy. During my journey, I actually I ran into my old teammate I played with in London. He was playing in Spain at the time, and he flew from Spain to Portugal to London. So like I seen him, and he actually made like my travels so much easier because just traveling like during that time was brutal.
Oh yeah, it had to be just crazy and a lot of uncertainty about okay, is it cool to do this, cool to do
Yeah,
that? It had to be pretty crazy.
and like
Um,
the flight that I had to get was like I flew in. I had to go all the way over to the opposite airport in London. So like that trip was like an hour. I was just gonna Uber, and he was like, "No, man, that's gonna cost too much money. Don't worry, I'll just be with you on the train. I'll show you where to go." And he did that. He had his whole luggage with him and everything. He didn't have to do that. It was, man,
wow.
and it's crazy too because he actually needed my help. He actually got a ticket. I guess someone bought the ticket for him, and he could like they weren't accepting because his name wasn't bought on the card. They weren't accepting his like
His
ID.
ID.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's crazy that we found each other. I actually ended up buying his ticket again or something like that right then and there. I helped him, he helped me, and that was that. It was great. Like man, I got saved. I got saved. So
So just kind of walk us through. I mean, you come home, everything's obviously on halt. Um, I know I wasn't exactly the happiest person in the world because, that meant basketball season ending early for me and no sports going on for months on end. What was that like for you? I mean, I'd assume you're just going to the gym, staying in shape, working on your game still, but from a mental perspective and not knowing what's next, I mean, how did that have an effect on you?
Well, I got to be honest. During that time, my mental was really good. I was in the best shape of my life. Mentally, I was doing great because I had just got back from such a great season.
Mm,
All my hard work that I put in prior to, just taking that year and a half off, like I really did the work internally and externally. So like to see that work come out and be successful, that really, really, really gave me great confidence. And I also knew that I was gonna get promoted up to a new league, a
yeah.
better league in Portugal. So like that was really good for me. But the only thing is I would say that was rough was coming back home and completely not being able to get in the gym at all. Because by the time I got here, like, the US kind of had like panicked. But when I was in Europe, we were already quarantining. We was
Okay.
already taking 2, 3 weeks off. By the time I got here, it didn't really hit the United States yet. So by the time I got here, it was probably like a week later, then like everything kind of got really serious. Like, whoa, this is actually a real thing. And the craziest thing happened to me. I'm playing Call of Duty. Obviously, it's this we're in quarantine and there's nothing to do. You're just staying home. I'm
Yeah.
playing Call of Duty 24/7. And man, I'm telling you, I'm hooked on the TV. I'm hooked on the game for at least 6 hours. I don't know what happened, but I ended up getting like a blood clot in the back of my neck. Yeah, and I was actually like I was like paralyzed for like a few like a few hours.
The hell?
Yeah, it was crazy. I went to the ER that night. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move my legs, my hands. Went to the hospital, and I went to the hospital during the time COVID was like fresh, scariest moment of my life.
Yeah.
Not even me like having like the I ended up getting a blood clot like that. Like I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk. I don't know how it happened. They still to this day they don't know what happened to me. And then
Wow.
and after like a week, like it went away. But I we I don't know. The doctors don't know why I had a blood clot, and literally on the top of my spine, right on top of my neck. Like they don't know why. So that was like the weirdest thing. But yeah, like that was just like very strange. That's like probably the most like worst thing that happened to me. But I was feeling pretty good. I knew once the pandemic would open back, like I said, like I knew I played extremely well, and I knew I had an opportunity to go elsewhere and play on a bigger stage in Portugal. So I was looking forward to that, and which I did, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah. Before we get into your current playing status and what that looks like going forward, during uh, the pandemic, you became a very popular guy to interview. Like I was looking up some stuff, and I'm like, wow, he's got articles here, articles there, articles everywhere. He's getting put in the Times Union up here in upstate New York. He's on this website, that website. Like, you became
Yeah.
a popular guy. What led to you? Um, you were being pretty outspoken, not just about your journey, but also about mental health in general and the importance of it, especially for athletes. What led to this sudden outspoken nature for you about it? You know, was it just the fact that, the pandemic had kind of like brought things home to you? Was it something else going on?
Yeah, I mean, during the pandemic, I guess, it forced everyone to grow and to maneuver and, adapt to what was happening. And for me, like I said, I was in a really, really high place at the time. So when someone reached out to me and wanted to do an interview, that led to another interview. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
This is bad. But yeah, no, someone wanted to interview me and said, I had a really good story and we yo, that sounds crazy. I might have, I might
It's
have to I might have to switch my locations again.
that's fine. That's fine. Go ahead,
Bear
man.
bear with me.
You're cool. You're cool. It's folks. This is a live recording, so shit happens sometimes. It's all
Yeah,
good. It's
man.
all good, man. Um,
But
yeah, you just go ahead. You were talking about your interviews that you went through.
yeah, so someone wanted to interview me and just to say about like my journey and stuff like that, and some of the questions that they asked me, it just kind of like forced me to say it. And when it just came out, then next thing you know, someone else asked, and then I kept getting like more interviews. So like the more I kept doing, I just got really comfortable. And I guess like that really helped me with like my platform with that. So,
Mm,
and I also noticed that the feedback I got from it, like man, so many people, so many athletes, and some people that weren't even non-athletes, they were just reaching out to me, and people I don't even know. And they were saying like, "Yo, like this is what we need. We need people. We need more people to talk about this because this is a thing. This, it happens." And like they kind of gave me the confidence to say, you know what? Well, if this is what if people are, can relate to this, then I know I'm not the only one. And I had teammates come to me and talk to me about certain things, and that's when I knew like, like this is something natural for me. Like this is I want to help people naturally, not necessarily like, on a bigger scale, but if you
yeah.
need to talk and you want, I'm here. I've been through it. I understand. Let's talk about it. So
Hmm.
that's when it really grew and during that time.
Yeah, and honestly, like you know, I'll get to the athlete side of it, but just from a personal perspective, like that's the big reason why I started this podcast is because I went through my own struggles and I went to different therapies and stuff, and it was time to allow myself to do a good introspective, and then once I felt like I had a good footing on myself, it's like, all right, now that I got a good footing on myself and I keep working on myself, what can I do to go forward with this for other people?
Right.
And so like that's where this podcast comes from. And it was just so weird because when I was thinking about putting this podcast together, that's when I was seeing all the stuff with you coming out, and I'm like,
Right.
my man, my
Right.
man.
Yeah, man. I remember you reaching out and you telling me like, look, this is what you plan on doing. It was great because man, you have no idea. Like even, me going through the process now and us speaking here, it still helps me with my mental health.
Mhm.
It's that constant reminder, like, all right, like we're improving day by day. And that's all you can do when it comes to mental health.
And I just think it's still really weird because like even though we have these big name athletes the last few years becoming more vocal, like a Kevin Love, a Dak Prescott,
Right.
Simone Biles, Naomi Osaka, even with those big name athletes coming out and being more vocal about mental health, especially their specific journeys, it still feels like even in 2021, it's still a taboo subject, and
Right.
it blows my mind, and the feedback that some of these athletes get when they talk about it, it's still negative, and
Right.
I don't understand it. Do you feel like there's a change kind of in motion at all, or is it still something that is going to be a struggle to talk
It's
about?
yeah, because it's hard to have tough conversations sometimes, and a lot of people just aren't ready. And
Mm,
it's just like you and I. It took you a while to start this podcast. It took you that time that you needed until you said, you know what, all right, I think I'm ready. I've done the work on myself. we have to do the work on ourselves. And until we do that, that's the only way we can continue, to help others and be vocal about, mental health. So it's just about having that awareness and having more people, spread that awareness across to allow people to feel comfortable talking about it.
Hmm. So, from a, if there was one piece of advice that you would give to somebody who's going through their struggles but don't know where to start as far as addressing their struggles, what will be like the first step you would recommend for them to take?
Well, I would tell them to get a journal and write down the pros and cons, or the things that make you happy and the things that you don't like, or the things that
Mm.
make you feel unworthy of certain things, and the things that you feel good about, because we can't necessarily tackle things that we aren't aware of. We first have to be aware of the problem and what's happening. So until we have that awareness, that's where we can actually do the work. So I always tell people, when you're going through things, write down what's working, write down what's not working. And then after you know those things, then you try to find a way, okay, how can I do this more that's working for me? And how can I do these things less that's not working out? And, it's a process. It's not something that just happens overnight, but like I said, it's something that you do on a day to day basis that will carry over and play into the long term game and will help you.
All right, one last question before I wrap things up, and it's a selfish question. What are we going to see some little Marcus Pattersons running up and down the court down the road?
Yo, real soon. Real soon. I'm telling you, I'm
Really?
thinking. No, for real. We actually, my wife and I, we actually had to talk about that the other day. So she's currently getting ready to take the bar and get situated with that. So once she gets situated with the bar, then we might have a few little Marcus Pattersons running around. So we'll see. We'll see.
That's awesome. Listen, man. I know that usually the Sage alumni game is roughly every April, but if we can make these face-to-face conversations more commonplace,
Yeah.
I love to
You
have
know,
it, man.
I'm supposed to be going. Oh yeah, you moved actually, didn't you? You're not
Well, I
out.
mean, I'm still like I'm within a half hour to 40 minutes from Albany.
Okay, I'm supposed to go see Alex soon, so before I head out. So if I have to pass by you, or we can definitely get like a drink or something, or get some dinner or lunch, and
Yeah, man, I love it.
we can do that.
So all right, you mentioned going out. When are things going to pick back up for you on the court?
Uh, right now, currently figuring that out. Just waiting for my agent to get back to me. Got a team in mind, but nothing concrete yet. So just
Okay.
kind of playing the waiting game here, and we'll see. I'm excited though. Hopefully everything goes well so I can announce this, because I'm excited for this opportunity.
All right. And if
Yeah.
people want to follow along with you and your journey, where can people find you on your socials?
My Instagram is underscore Pat4. My Twitter is underscore Pat4. And my Facebook is just Marcus Patterson. So, or Marcus E. Patterson. You can find me somewhere on there. But definitely reach out to me on Instagram or Twitter, and I'll respond back.
I wanted this to happen for a long time. I'm glad we got it together.
Yeah, sorry for the
Uh,
noise, man. I'm so
nah,
sorry.
dude, you're good. Trust me, you're plenty
Uh,
good. Don't ever apologize for that. But this has been episode 9, The Space Between Your Ears, presented by Godzilla Media and sponsored by Mohawk Honda, Freeman's Bridge Road in Scotia Glenville. Marcus, it's been great. Thank you again for coming
thank you.
on the show, and we'll talk soon. All right, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.